Feisty, fearless, and fair. She's an Emmy-winning journalist from the White House to war zones, telling all sides of the story. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, Don Lemon is out after a day in court. He is facing federal civil rights charges. These are some big ones, and it's tied to the storming of that church. Now, he says he was there covering the incident as a journalist. And let's remember what happened that day, where there were many protesters who indeed went into parishioners praying in a morning church service in St. Paul, just outside of Minneapolis. And things were definitely out of control. I mean, if you look at the media tonight, you would think that the protesters, and I'm not even just talking about Don Lemon, I'm talking about the protesters here overall. The protesters, it's clear as day. You see them coming into the church. You see them terrifying families and young kids who are like cowering in the corner. Can you imagine you're on a peaceful Sunday morning? You're in the middle of this climate where these crazy protesters are all over the city and all over the state. And then suddenly this group of people storm in, calling you a white supremacist, going after you, terrifying you as you are in your pews. And they went down and they started praying that they weren't going to get killed. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not like these protesters are quiet and unabashed. If they were, they wouldn't be storming a church. And going into a church when people are praying and terrifying people, that is infringing on freedom of religion. That is intent to terrify people from going back to that church or practicing their religion, going to their place of worship. It doesn't matter if it was a church, if it was a temple, if it was a mosque. And in fact, let's pretend it was a mosque. Can you imagine if it was a mosque and they stormed in? Can you imagine if it was some other group that went in, or Nick Shirley or Nick Sorter, those two independent journalists who have been following people around and blowing the lid on what's been going on in Minneapolis with fraud and everything else? But can you imagine if they stormed in and they went in and then they started handing out donuts and coffees to the protesters, if they started talking to people beforehand and saying, hey, something big is going to happen. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm going to be with them. Doesn't that sort of sound like, to many people, he might be in on it? And that's what the feds are saying tonight, that this is not a journalist. They're essentially saying this is a provocateur. He is a former CNN host for many years, and he's been doing an independent podcast. And many people tonight are saying this is all just hoping to get his name back in the headlines. And that's what it was when he went into that church. He knows better. You don't go into a church and he wasn't happened to being there because they put out a press release. He wasn't happened to be driving by and saw a big crowd or people cowering in the corner. He was with them when they were there earlier, is the allegation. He even says it, that he was talking to them. You see him on camera talking with them, saying they're going to go in and do something big and surprising. He's on his live stream. He said, I can't say what it is or where it is, but it's going to be a biggie. We'll be with them for the surprise. I mean, that sounds like more than a journalist. And that's the big issue tonight. So that's the question. In fact, we have a lot of attorneys who listen to this show. And I'm curious what you think, because if you listen to CNN and MS Now, a number of them are saying, oh, this is a huge infringement on First Amendment rights. This is a huge stretch on freedom of speech, that he was just simply a journalist and he's being punished because he doesn't like Trump and he said some things maybe against Trump. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I mean, you can't be an active participant in a crime. I'm not saying he was. That's up for the courts to decide. But a lot of people are looking at it that way and saying, oh, what just happened to be there? A journalist sort of stands in the background, happens to be driving by, or happens to hear about it and shows up. isn't sort of part of the plan and then isn't advocating for them afterwards. And then to say, I'm just a journalist covering the event. It's interesting. And if you look at the pastor there, he looked kind of scared when Don Lemon was kind of getting aggressive and in his face. And he said, I would ask you to leave. It wasn't like I'm asking you, nice journalist, to leave. It's like I'm asking you, provocateur, to leave. I don't think the people in that church really separated Don Lemon from the others. So there's a lot of questions tonight. And in fact, just a little bit ago, the U.S. District Court of Minnesota saying that Lemon, he admonished the pastor and said, don't push me. So there's a whole bunch of stuff sort of going on here, and it's going to be a fascinating case. But here's Don Lemon, right after he left court today, and he said he is not going to bow. He's not going to kowtow. He is going to keep on going because he was just doing his job. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think. 1-800-848-9222. Were you surprised that Don Lemon got charged? And is it the right move? Does it send a very powerful message that you can't cross a certain line? And didn't he cross a line between being a journalist and an activist? That's what a lot of people are asking tonight. 1-800-848-9222. And here's Don Lemon in his own words today, a few hours ago when he left the church.
I need sunglasses. How are you? Wow. Can everybody hear me? Are you guys set? Everybody ready? So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I had no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
So he says he's going to fight it. And if you look at CNN and MSNBC, they say, oh, this is terrible. This is First Amendment. So was Don Lemon just a journalist sitting on the sidelines innocently in the background who happened to be covering it like everybody else? It sure obviously looked like he got a scoop. And if he knew that they were going to storm a church and then goes in with them and then afterwards was giving them donuts and coffee and a whole bunch of stuff, isn't that beyond just covering it? That's a lot of what goes to the heart of this. I'm not comfortable with going after people on First Amendment, but then there's another First Amendment, and that's right to practice your religion. So there's two First Amendments here, which is a very interesting case, which is why I want to hear from some attorneys who listen to the show and get your take. So here is Joe Concha, first of all. And Joe Concha was on earlier today, of course, of Fox News, also hosts a show on WABC Radio. And Joe told me and John this, that he said he believes that this was not journalism, this was activism by Don Lemon. Take a listen.
Forget the criminal aspect of the FACE Act and the KKK Act, which basically says that you cannot just barge into a house of worship under the guise of the First Amendment or so-called journalism and start harassing parishioners and scaring the hell out of all these kids that were in Sunday school and then saying, well, I was just being a journalist, when he knew this was happening. He knew the exact church, the old saying in Casablanca, of all the gym mills, in all the world. She walked into mine. Of all the churches in Minnesota, Don Lemon had the Jedi instincts to go to that church at that time, at that moment, because organizers told him it was happening. He bought coffee and donuts for these agitators beforehand and knew exactly what the plan was. He stormed in with them. He was a provocateur to the pastor and other parishioners there, and he's going to have a lot of problems from a criminal's perspective. But if I'm a parent there and my child was harassed the way they were these children, these agitators got up in their faces and said, your parents are Nazis. This scared the hell out of these 4 and 5 year olds. They're just there for Sunday school. There are civil suits coming here as well. And Don Lemon has a lot of money. I have a feeling that nice mansion he has in Oyster Bay, he may have to put it for sale eventually at some point.
Very interesting. That's a good point. There are civil suits coming for sure. And now also here is Don Lemon. Let's go to that moment that Joe was just kind of referring to, where Don Lemon was handing out coffee and donuts to these crazy anti-ICE protesters after they terrified the church. Like, good job, everybody. Take a listen.
Don Lemon is on the front lines right now.
Thank you.
Follow Don Lemon. He ain't on CNN no more, so he right here in the front line.
Come get some coffee.
Hey, Don Lemon got some coffee for y'all.
And donuts.
And donuts. And he ain't talking about police.
You want some coffee?
He wants some coffee. Don Lemon, I trust Don Lemon coffee.
You want some coffee?
He ain't finna poison.
I love some coffee. Thank you, Don. Great to see you here. Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you, Don. Boy, it was so great storming that church there. Wasn't that wonderful? And here's a little more, because afterwards he went on a podcast and this is what he had to say.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
That is so incredible. It has nothing to do with being a gay black man in America. I don't care if you're a purple spotted ostrich and you're walking into a church and disrupting a service. It has nothing to do with it. A gay black female, none of this has anything to do with it. I mean, this is just crazy. And take a listen to what he says was sort of just a nice group kind of going into a church, just peacefully. Does this sound like a nice group going into a church? And he sure sounds like he's supporting their ideology.
Shame on you. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment. Exactly. As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would die with enemies. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice.
That's incredible. Every time I hear that, I get more riled up. That guy goes into a church Can you imagine if somebody's in your face screaming at you like that, terrifying you while you're in a church service with your children or your family or your neighbors? That is downright terrifying. And that's what many people are saying that Don Lemon was a part of. We're going to take your calls when we come back here on the Rita Cosby Show, 1-800-848-9222.
It's the Rita Cosby Show. Rita Cosby is on.
And let's go to your calls. Let's go to Reggie in Texas on line 5. Go ahead, Reg. What do you think about Don Lemon?
Well, first of all, that guy you had on, if he ever got up in my face with my kids like that, one of us would have a problem.
I agree that the guy who we were playing the clip of screaming, like this was not some innocent protest. And now what do you think though about Don Lemon? Was he a journalist? Was he an activist? What do you think?
Here's the thing. It almost becomes inconsequential, Miss Rita, because ignorance of the law, whether you're a journalist or not, does not make you immune. If he were to go to a bank robbery to document that would that make him immune from prosecution? Part of the conspiracy? I think people are getting things confused. He knew a criminal act was taking place just because he decided to go.
And by the way, Reggie, that's a very good point because it is a criminal act to go into a church. And also to do that, it's a complete violation of civil rights. The other issue is if he clearly knew about it beforehand, which he did. So it's like if somebody said, okay, we're going to go rob this bank, come in and film it and then let's hang out afterwards. Does that make you a conspirator?
Well, we all have a responsibility to prevent or stop a crime when it's taking place. If you're in a supermarket and the person next to you, unbeknownst to you, decides to rob the store, you walk out with them and you drive the getaway car, whether you like it or not, you're now part of the crime.
Right. Or let's take it one step further because he was hanging out with these people beforehand. If they said, hey, we're about to go into this church. We're about to totally disrupt the service, terrify people, do all this. It's really gonna be a big, to-do. We're tipping you off. Come in with it. And then afterwards hang out with us and hand out donuts and coffee. So in other words, if he was told, hey, we're going to go rob a bank, come with us, film it, and then let's hang out afterwards. I would say, that kind of behavior is conspiracy. Don't you? You're part of the act.
Yes, ma'am. He at no point. He's not there saying, let's go, this is wrong. So he's a part of it. And real quick, these protesters, it's like being at a football game. You're not observing. You're on the field trying to play. There's a whole different thing, not documenting anymore.
Yeah, and some of the comments afterwards that he made reinforcing that he supports them, to be an unbiased journalist, that's a stretch.
It's the Rita Cosby Show. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Groton, Connecticut, where police officers saved a man from below freezing temperatures in an icy West Cove waters aft Groton Marina. Emergency Communications Center received a 911 call reporting that a man had fallen in the water. And the caller, who was a friend of the man, reported that man was losing feeling in his limbs. The man had been in the water for over 15 minutes and remember how cold it was and was experiencing loss of movement in his arms and legs due to the freezing temperatures. So the officer immediately got additional units and with the assistance of the friend was able to hold the man's wrist and keep him afloat until help arrived. Fortunately, other crews joined, and then thanks to a coordinated effort, the officers were able to pull the man onto the dock and transfer him to a local hospital. And incredibly, did not have life-threatening injuries. Many people saying the officer and got there in the nick of time, and thanks to the good teamwork of him and the friend who called 911 when his friend said, I'm going to text you when I get on the boat. And the friend did not text. And the other friend went to check on him. Thank goodness for friends and for our men and women in blue. Well, everybody is buzzing about the big new movie about Melania Trump, the First Lady. She is amazing. I've known Melania for many, many years. She is the epitome of grace and of elegance and of charm. And now there is a brand new movie that came out yesterday. You probably saw it all over the news. The president and the first lady were there at the Kennedy Center. It was a star-studded night, and it was for the premiere of Melania. Here's a little bit of it.
Here we go again.
You can come in. Come on in. My proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker and in the fire. Beautiful. Together with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
I have not seen it. I can't wait to see it. Well, someone who did and who was there at the Kennedy Center is our next guest here on the Rita Cosby Show. Adam Weiss, he is a great political strategist. He is CEO of AMWPR, a big PR firm that represents many of the biggest names out there and biggest companies out there. And he is host of Media Exposed with Adam Weiss on Real America's Voice. Adam, what did you think of the film? And tell us about the night. It must have been amazing. Like it was a who's who roster from the Trump administration and beyond.
It was, hey, Rita, thanks for having me. It was like what would be for political junkies, people in the media business, people in the, the policy world. It was our Super Bowl in the side of the Republican conservatives, the who's who of cabinet secretary, from Bobby Kennedy to Howard Lutnick to Doug Barham or Tulsi or Kerry Lake. They were all there. Even Nicki Minaj came out there to celebrate, sitting next to Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo. Dr. Phil was there. So it was a star-studded. It's really important because Republicans were never known as the Kennedy Center, the cultural party, the arts party. But it's good that they're bringing back some arts. They're bringing back some entertainment. And, we didn't see the movie. And after a little reception, it was something else. It showed really Melania's grace, her elegance, her fashion acumen. So it was really, I thought it was a great movie. I don't like the way the media's been talking about it, but it's must see for everybody out there because it gives a really inside look at what it takes to become first lady and what it takes to become the president within the last 20 days. The movie starts off 20 days before their second inauguration.
Yeah, it's the leading up, right, it's leading up to him coming back to the White House. And you know what's neat too? She really is such an advisor to the president. And he was asked about that. I saw it on the red carpet last night. I was watching it from here. I was here preparing for the show. I was sad not to be there, Adam. But I remember hearing like some of the clips and people were saying, oh, we'll talk about, do you listen to her advice? He really listens a lot to her advice. She has been, his rock, his supporter, his, partner, obviously in life, but also someone who's also very honest. And in fact, the president's even talked about that. Did you sort of see that role of her, that side of her? And she's amazingly graceful, amazingly accomplished, speaks so many languages, had the courage to come over here, to America. Really an extraordinary life. all the way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
There was one part of the movie, the docu, where they come out, they're talking about they're leading up to Inauguration Day, where usually they take the car, they do the parade. And they were talking about being in the car, being in the limo, being in the SUVs. And they were saying, should we get out? And the president's just like, you can see he's ready. All right, let's get out, right? And, sometimes his first inauguration, he got out and started shaking hands. And she stops and says, Barron will not go out. There's no way Barron will get out. And after what happened the last year, it's not safe, Mr. President. We shouldn't. And you see, she puts her hand down and says, we shouldn't get out. And that was it. And the president took her advice and they decided, and ended up, I don't even think they had the parade because it was so freezing. I think they did everything inside. But in that moment, you could see he took her advice because the president just is kind of a wing it type person. A lot of times he would get out and start
right
into the crowd.
Now, what did you learn?
Moments like that.
And Adam, what did you learn? What was the most sort of surprising moment of the film? Like, was there some neat things that you really learned about her that you didn't know?
It was very engaging. A lot of it's fashion, her meticulous manners, her meticulous details to her outfits, with the whole ensemble of fashion designer and team she has. She's so passionate about children. There's some scenes where she talks to Bridget Macron on Zoom, and then she meets with Queen Rania of Jordan to talk about being wellness of kids and safety for kids and getting them away from the dangers of social media and the dangers of online harassment. So you see, she's so passionate about this stuff. And so really wanted, and you learn this time around, she's not afraid. She wants to take more of a stand and becoming first lady and more initiatives. And you see it a lot more this time around. So, and then you see a little bit of the president, how it's a little bit different this time around with his wife. It's really engaging.
Yeah. Now, how is he different? How did you read it as different?
He just takes his wife in a different manner, even though he's always Trump. Yes, honey. It's like when she says something, he takes it. He takes her advice right away. You could see it. He really respects her.
Yeah. Well, she's so smart. And you could even see that last night. I mean, Donald Trump is always saying what he thinks. And that's the good thing. You always know where he stands. And I was watching on the red carpet, people are like, well, do you take her? He goes, oh, she's very smart. She's very this. You could tell that he really has just an incredible respect for her. What I thought about too, Adam, is in the last few months, and this is obviously after the film was put together, the moments that the film, is showcasing, but she came out, remember, and said, that she wrote a letter to Putin about the kids, remember, that were abducted from Ukraine. She has really taken a much stronger position on that, social media, like you mentioned. So she really has, I think, come into her own. And she's always been just such a charming, graceful person, but I think she's really finding her purpose. Tell me about also all the folks there. What was the most interesting? What was the scene like? The Super Bowl for conservatives.
I saw Howard Lutnick, and I said, Howard, I love the scenes in one of your podcasts, and he just started telling me story after story. There was I said, I saw a fascinating interview, Howard, how you when he was recruiting Elon before Elon became a supporter, you flew down there, and he says, I flew down there. And I'm supposed to meet with Elon, and he's nowhere to be found. And then his assistant sends me to Taco Tuesday at a Mexican restaurant. And I'm sitting here waiting for 3 hours drinking margaritas with tacos on a Tuesday. I finally get to Elon's apartment at loft, and it's 1,000 square foot loft. He's not even there. There's IKEA furniture everywhere. And I'm waiting for 2 hours sitting around, and Elon finally shows up bragging about all his baby mamas. And this is my conversation in the carpet with him. And then, and then there's, and then Witkoff too was very engaging on the carpet, and Bobby was very engaging. So, and Nicki Minaj was sweet too, meeting her. It was an amazing night from the biggest Trump administration officials to the president himself. So, and the star-studded rows of media was unbelievable. So the night was, sometimes you wish these nights would last a lot longer. You have those moments, you have those events, and you know it as well as I do.
Yes.
Some of these events, we go to a lot.
Yes.
this was the top of the top because of the people we love and the passion in the country, and you're standing in history at that moment of time. I'm in history, right? Moment, Melania finally coming out, and like you said earlier, she's finally taken it. We're in the first term. It was Melania, but you didn't know, and now you didn't know what she really thought or the initiative. Now she's going for it. She's taking her initiative. She's showing how she feels. And it's a new Melania, and it's a different Melania, and it's a great first lady. But again, you look down for our audience, and you look down, Rita. Every article is pretty much negative.
Yeah, why is that?
They're writing stories.
I mean, how could it's like
how bad ticket sales.
Right? Why is that? Is it just still part? Do you think, Adam, of this crazy Trump derangement syndrome? Because I know so many people who couldn't wait. I can't wait to watch the movie. I didn't get a chance to go. I was invited to one of the premieres, and I couldn't go. And I'm bummed because I would have loved to have seen it, but I'm planning to see it in the near future. I can't. But so why is it? Why is it part of this whole anything Trump does?
I think this heading sums it up, Rita, by The Independent, a big publication online. The heading is, if Melania flops, Donald Trump administration will get the blame. So right there, they're vested in, if Melania's movie, which is entertainment Hollywood, flops, we can just blame it on the president. So anything they can do, the media, that makes the president look bad, they're cheerleaders, right? So I mean, the Daily Beast, people, other magazines, for a week they've been writing how bad ticket sales are. How are ticket sales bad when the movie comes out today?
I was going to say, right. I mean, what a ridiculous comment, because it's what they want. Like, they want to undermine, anything that even is great by the Trump administration. It's crazy. There was a little moment. I thought the media was getting better towards the first lady during the holiday season. They didn't criticize over decoration, but now they're full throttle. I think since a little bit of this immigration battle, full throttle, invested in making her look bad, making the president look bad. And how do we know this? Michelle Obama was on 20 covers. The biggest publications, the biggest fashion, cultural publications, Vanity Fair, Vogue, the ones, Harper Bazaar. What we see is the icon of the media for fashion. And guess how many Melania's been on? Zero. A whopping zero. Which is, right. and she's a model. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. Right. She's walk out with these outfits and this group. If nothing else, you go to this movie to see the outfits, the elegance, the detail, the appearance that she does. And another fascinating, right before they're getting ready for all these inaugural balls and the details they have to go through to go to one ball, to the other ball, to go to the congressional luncheon, and then there's a great part when the president has to, the new president's coming in that afternoon. Joe Biden only has the previous president only has 4 hours to move out his furniture. That's all they allow. Oh, wow. So they got to get the furniture out in 4 hours. Then the new president gets sworn in. Then he puts all his new furniture in, and then in between this, he's walking the Bidens out to the helicopter. They get in the helicopter, and then the White House is his. Wow, that's really interesting. Well, Adam Weiss, I am jealous. It sounds like you had an incredible night with truly a piece of history. I'm so happy for you. And I can't wait to go see the movie now. I've been thrilled to see it, but now after hearing it from you, I'm even more excited. I think everybody should go see it. We'll have to go get some popcorn and do it in New York. That'd be great. Give away Melania popcorn. We'll get our own popcorn and we'll do it in New York. That'd be great. That sounds fantastic. Well, Adam, thank you so much. The great Adam Weiss, political strategist, CEO of AMWPR, also host of Media Exposed with Adam Weiss on Real America's Voice News. And Adam, we love you. Really great to hear from you. And thank you for taking us inside that really incredible event. Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure, my friend. And everybody, I'll take your calls when we come back. 1-800-848-9222. I'm so jealous of Adam. It sounds like an awesome time.
It's the Rita Cosby Show. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, you just heard from Adam Weiss, who was inside the big Melania premiere at the John Kennedy Center. I mean, that's amazing to be there at the Kennedy Center with so many folks. It's the Trump Kennedy Center, I think, right? But to be there with Melania and the president and his whole cabinet and the who's who and Nicki Minaj. And I really can't wait to see the film because Melania really is a force of nature. Often, one of those people who doesn't get the credit that she deserves, really smart, really, just a lovely person. And I have known Melania for a long time, and she is very, very intelligent and someone who speaks her mind to the president. And one of the few people that the president really listens to and really covets her advice. It's really a partnership, which is really beautiful. And I can't wait to see the film. Again, it came out today. Melania, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Alice in Ohio. Alice, by the way, I know you want to talk also about all the stuff that's going on in the protests. But what did you think of the Melania film, the little sneak peek that we got? It sounds great.
She is incredible. Just in general, you compare the Republican women to the women, the Democrat women, and look, Kamala, are you kidding me? It's about time that someone has given credit to Melania. She's lovely. She's super bright. You know, she studied architecture.
Yeah, and speaks many languages, by the way. Yes. And
Kamala can't speak English. So.
That's true. No, she's very good at word salad. That's it. She's a PhD in word salad, Alice.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. It's sprinkled with vinegar. Yes. So, you want to know about?
Yeah, tell me about the protest. I know you wanted to call in about the information and also about ICE in Ohio. You mentioned that DeWine kind of put out. I remember when you called last week. It was really interesting, Alice. You said that the governor there kind of announced, well, ICE is coming to Ohio, which was interesting that he announced it. What have you learned?
Well, Governor DeWine is not happy about it, and he's very low key. They're coming to Springfield, Ohio. There are 70,000 Haitians in the Springfield area, and their temporary protected status expires the 3rd of February. And ICE is supposed to be there on the 4th. And the information is very sketchy because Mike DeWine is not happy about it, and he has said just be nice to if anyone is demonstrating, and cooperate with all levels of law enforcement. That's it.
Wow, that's interesting though, that temporary protective status. I did see that is elapsing. In other words, they're revoking it. So that's happening on the 3rd, and then ICE is going to be there on the 4th to make sure. I guess that those people, they need to know that their status has been revoked and they shouldn't be in the country. Is there any problems with the Haitians? Has there been any issues there, like what we saw clearly with, remember with the Somali community in Minneapolis, at least some of them accused of that horrible fraud?
Well, if you remember last summer, there was some brouhaha about, eating cats.
I remember the debate. Yeah. Right.
But no one has said anything. I'm wondering if the governor has told the media to cool it. I'm just wondering about that, but nothing else. That's it. That's all I have to tell you. I'm sorry.
No, actually, that's very interesting, Alice, because you're giving us a good preview that the governor is trying to maybe calm things down and tell everybody, don't get out of hand. It's coming to our community soon.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.